Got to turn my mic on. Hello, everyone. Let me flip that up. Welcome back. I am covering another Mrballen top 3 photos with disturbing backstories. Part 2. I already did part 1. I did that a few days ago, but doesn't matter to you. You don't know when I'm going to upload it. So I'm just kind of rolling with Mrballen right now. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to keep going with it. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want me to continue doing this. Get in the comment section. Yell at me if you want to. You know, whatever. I'm into it. It's fine. You can find me on Twitter. I don't know. It's just a name with numbers. You can find it in the link in the description. Find me there. Tell me what you want me to do. Quit YouTube. Whatever. It's fine. I just want to roll with this, and we'll keep going with this and see how it goes, because I'm enjoying them.
Today I'm going to tell you 3 progressively more horrifying stories that at the end of each of them I'm going to show you the picture or pictures that are famously associated with that particular story. But before we get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel. Because that's
good.
all I do, and I upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week.
Not
if that's
anymore.
of interest to you, then please move into the top floor of a high-rise apartment building that does not have a working elevator, and then ask the like button to help you move. Also, please subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
Wall of Death.
On March 20th, 1980, significant volcanic activity began to occur all over Mount St. Helens in Washington state. The north face of the mountain had begun to visibly shake, and then by March 27th, there was steam coming out of the craters and vents all over the north side of the mountain. That April, scientists began to notice that there was this massive bulge that was growing on the north side of this mountain that was about 1 mile in diameter, and every day it was growing about 6 feet farther and farther up the mountain, and it was basically this massive undercurrent of magma that was going towards the top of the mountain, getting ready to explode. Initially, there was some speculation that perhaps this magma bulge is not nearly as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. That really, at worst, it would be a small eruption and it would have no impact on the surrounding areas. But authorities became skittish and were worried that they could just be caught with their pants down if this turned into a full-blown volcanic eruption. So they began evacuating the area. And for the most part, everybody evacuated, with the exception of a few scientists and some photographers and some really hardcore people that did not want to leave their homes. One of those people who had stayed behind was Robert Landsberg, who was a photographer, and on May 18th, 1980,
I thought they could force you to leave your house in that situation. I mean, I guess they can't. They should. But I guess, if the hurricanes, people will stay there. And it's not necessarily for the hurricane, it's for the looting afterwards, to protect their house or whatever. Or they just really can't leave, I guess. I always thought they could force you I know they can't. What am I talking about?
he was out hiking about 7 miles away from the summit of Mount St. Helens, and he was making his way up to try to find a good viewpoint of that north face. He wanted to look at that magma surge that was making its way up on the north side of the mountain. And so finally he makes his way up and he gets to a great spot and he starts taking pictures of that north face. While Robert is taking pictures of that side of the mountain, a 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck the area, causing that entire north face of Mount St. Helens to be sheared off and begin falling down the side of the mountain. It's this massive landslide. It's one of the biggest that's ever been recorded in that area.
Wow.
But what it really did is all of a sudden that entire magma surge that had been building up underneath on the north side, making its way up, suddenly is uncovered, and it causes this massive volcanic explosion shooting 15 miles straight up into the air. Along with this massive vertical blast, there was a simultaneous lateral blast basically pointed directly at Robert, and it sent these molten debris surging down the mountainside at 100 miles an hour or faster. Robert knew he had no hope of escaping this wall of magma and ash coming straight at him. So he decides, instead of trying to save myself, I'm going to take as many pictures as I can of this volcanic eruption, and then I'm going to try to protect the film. And so Robert took as many pictures as he could of this massive volcanic wall of death coming towards him until the very last second when he puts his camera into his bag, he puts that into his backpack, and then he holds it against his chest, and lays down on the ground using his body as the last protective measure to try to save this film for posterity. 17 days later, they find Robert Landsberg's body, and sure enough, he was able to protect his film by laying on top of it. And so they developed the pictures that he took, and they're incredible. Here are the final pictures that Robert Landsberg took before he was killed by the volcano.
Wow.
On September 21st, 2014, Darsh Patel, who was a 22-year-old college student, was out hiking in a New Jersey state park along with 5 of his college buddies. As they were about to head down a particular trail that they had actually gone to this park to go down, a man and woman come charging up the path towards them. And so Darsh and his friends stop, and they're looking at these 2 people who look totally distraught and scared. And the man and woman immediately say, "Hey, don't go down this path. We were just down there, and for the past 10 minutes, a black bear has been stalking us in the tree line. We don't..."
Is there bears in New Jersey? I didn't know that. Huh.
know where it went, but we got up here, we turned around and it was gone, but we would not suggest going down this path. It's just not worth it. Darsh and his friends tell the couple, thank you for giving us the heads up. We were actually going to go down that path, and so I guess now we won't. And so the couple, they quickly leave, and Darsh and his friends are sitting there thinking, well, now what do we do? Because this was the trail we were going to go down. This is why we're here. As they're standing there, they start talking about, well, maybe we just go down anyways. There's 6 of us. I highly doubt that a bear is going to come out of the woods and attack 6 people, especially a black bear that is...
It doesn't have to attack 6 people. It's only going after 1. And the other 5 aren't going to stand there and hold hands with that person. They're all going to think self-preservation. Don't go.
Not known to attack people. Why don't we just walk down a ways, and if we see the bear, then we just turn around and leave. And if we see the bear...
Not that easy.
Might make some good pictures. Let's just go down there and see what happens. And they start walking. And sure enough, about 10 minutes into their trip down this trail, they see this massive bear parked right in the center of the trail, about 250 meters away from where they were. The bear did not appear to be doing anything. It was just sitting there, but it was clearly looking at the group of them. So Darsh and his friends are just standing there, not really sure what to do, so they start taking pictures and videos. They're not moving any closer, but they just start documenting what they're seeing because this bear was apparently stalking this couple. It was pretty interesting, and they figured, hey, make some good pictures. So they start taking pictures and taking some videos of this animal, and the animal starts walking towards them. Now, it's 250 meters away. They recognize that this is a dangerous animal, and we don't want to get too close to it.
Now they recognize that? They should have recognized it before.
So they felt relatively safe. Even if it started moving towards them initially, they still felt safe. But the animal starts jogging towards them. At this point, the boys put their phones away, turn around, and they start hightailing it the other way. And somebody looks back and notices the bear is now sprinting at them. This causes the group to completely panic. They start sprinting back towards where their cars were parked. Absolute full panic back up the trail. No one's paying attention to anybody else. They're just running for their lives. And as they're turning their heads to look, the bear is gaining on them and gaining on them. Finally, after about 10 minutes of just running for their lives, they make it to the parking lot and they turn around. There's no bear, but there's short one hiker. Darsh Patel is still in the forest somewhere. The group starts screaming for Darsh. They know there was this aggressive bear in there chasing them, so they're obviously worried about him potentially getting attacked, and so they immediately call 911. The police show up and park rangers show up, and they go into the forest to try to find this bear and to find Darsh. And very quickly they come across this bear in a clearing, this 300-pound bear all by itself, aggressively pacing around this lump in the middle of this clearing that had sticks and branches on it. It wasn't clear what it was, and this bear is just pacing in a circle around this thing. And as these 2 park rangers get closer, they're armed. The bear looks at them and makes a move like it's going to charge, and they elect to shoot and kill this bear. Later, the bear's remains would be taken to a laboratory, and inside of the bear's stomach was Darsh Patel. He had been killed and eaten by this bear, and that lump that was on the ground that the bear was circling was whatever was left of Darsh that had not been consumed yet. When they recovered Darsh Patel's phone, they went into his images, and they found he had taken one final picture before he was attacked. Here it is. The bear was not malnourished, it was not diseased, it just decided it wanted to stalk, kill, and eat a human.
That's when they all turned and they all ran. They stopped looking out for one another. It was, as I said, self-preservation. So don't do it. It doesn't matter how many you have. Once something like that happens, everyone's out for themselves. They weren't going to stand there and face the animal. And as soon as it started sprinting towards them, it does not matter. You're just going to go. And you're no longer worried about that person. When you walked in there, you're thinking, there's 6 of us. We're all fine. We'll stick together. As soon as it happens, you're like, if they can stick together, I'm going to be running towards my car. And just don't do it. It's stupid. Stupid.
Vladimir Komarov was a Soviet astronaut who in 1967 was scheduled to orbit the Earth in the first manned flight of a particular Soviet spacecraft called the Soyuz. Komarov would be flying this mission solo, and so he needed a backup in case for some reason he couldn't go. And his backup was Yuri Gagarin, who was actually Komarov's best friend. This mission was very important to the Soviet Union, more from a political standpoint, but nonetheless, the pressure was on Komarov to successfully complete this mission. And so he, along with his backup, Yuri, had to train extra hard and make sure they did not screw this up. But it turns out the fail point for this mission was almost certainly not going to be Komarov or Gagarin if he ended up going instead of Komarov. It was going to be the spaceship itself. Gagarin, along with a host of engineers, did a full-blown inspection of the Soyuz and found 203 significant structural problems, and they all recommended postponement of this mission. But their recommendation was ignored because, again, this mission was so politically important to the Soviet Union that they were effectively ready to risk their astronauts to make it happen. When Komarov found out about all these structural issues and the fact that the powers that be were not even listening and were basically saying, we don't care, you're doing this mission anyways, he was crushed, and he told a KGB agent that he was certain he was going to die. And this KGB agent would later say that he asked Komarov, well then why don't you refuse the mission? And Komarov said, if I refuse the mission, they're going to make my best friend go, and he'll die up there, so I have to go. Gagarin pleaded with Komarov to relinquish the role, let Gagarin go instead of him, but Komarov was staunch. He said, I've been given this mission, I'm going to go, you're going to stay here. But what Komarov did, which is so legendary, is he made sure his funeral, if he were to die in the course of this mission, would be open casket. Because he knew if he came back to Earth, it was probably going to be because this spaceship has crashed. And he wanted the Soviet leadership to see what they had done. So sure enough, Komarov gets in the Soyuz on launch day, he takes off, and the problems began almost immediately. They had very little power, they had limited communications with the ground, and the craft itself was spinning uncontrollably. Seeing how badly it was going already, Soviet leadership on the ground instructed Komarov to nix the mission and just try to come back to Earth.
It's a little
for
too
5
late
hours, Komarov...
It's a little too late for that. You knew all these problems beforehand. And you're like, it's fine. We'll just go ahead. And then you're like, oh, yeah, no, these problems are bad. Let's just come on back. You can't. You can't bring it back like it's not attached to a string. You just pull it right back. It's ridiculous.
Circled Earth and attempted to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, but his ship, because of all of those structural problems, didn't work. And so 18 times he attempts to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, but each time it fails. And it was around this time that American intelligence recorded a conversation between a high-ranking Soviet leader on the ground and Komarov. And the leader on the ground is basically crying and saying they're so sorry to Komarov and that he's going to be a hero. They got his wife to come on, and his wife is talking to Komarov, and Komarov's telling her, what to do with the kids, what to do with his estate. He's perfectly fine and healthy, but the craft is doomed, and everybody knows it. Then that call ends, and Komarov, on his 19th attempt, is able to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, which everyone was pretty surprised he could even do that, but his parachutes failed. As Komarov is plunging to his death, over the radio he's cursing the Soviet leadership that doomed him by putting him in a botched spaceship. And so sure enough, on April 24th around 7 a.m., Komarov's craft smashes into the ground, killing Komarov, and when they open it up, it's clear what happened to him. He didn't die on impact. He basically burned alive inside of this capsule as it was careening down towards the Earth. And so all that's left of him is this charred pile. But because Komarov explicitly stated that they had to have an open casket funeral, specifically because he wanted the Soviet leadership to see what they had done to him, they had to hold an open casket funeral with just these charred remains. And here is the famous picture of Komarov's funeral, where the actual Soviet leaders that put him in that spaceship that was doomed, here they are viewing his open casket funeral. So that's going to do it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these 3 stories. And
Did they even care? I mean, they looked at it and they were like, oh man, that's terrible. But did they care? You're making them look at your body, but do they care? Wow, that's disturbing. That's sad too. But I mean, yeah, I understand why he would do it. But what happened if the best friend rejected it? Do they keep going down the line? What if every single person said no? Of course, the hero in someone is going to say, yep, I'll do it. I'll risk it because I want that recognition. And if they died, that would be their recognition, their charred body. That's sad. Wow. I'm going to end it here. Yep, the last one certainly was disturbing. The second one, the bear attack, that's just annoying. It's just, why? You knew better. You were warned. Anyways, I'm just going to end it here. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to the channel if you want this type of stuff more. I try to post. I'm trying to get on a schedule that's more regular. I figure like a Monday, maybe 2, Tuesday 1, Wednesday 2, Thursday 1, Friday 2. But sometimes I do 2, 2, 2, 2, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday's nothing. So I don't really have any set. It's just kind of when I can get a chance to get on them and kind of get some things done. So I'm trying to get some episodes banked right now. None of this matters to you. You don't care. But I'm just letting you know. All right. I hope that this wasn't too disturbing for you because it kind of annoyed me at the same time. All right. So thanks for watching and have a good day.